Hello, everyone. Today we have the beautiful Melanie Reese joining us today. She is our July Shero of the Month, nominated by her fellow PWN members. We are excited to have you today, and thank you so much for accepting the nomination. Melanie, can you share a little about yourself?
Sure. My name is Melanie Reese. I currently live in Baltimore, Maryland. I have been HIV positive for 23 years. I am 70 years old, and I since 1999, that's when I was diagnosed. That was the same year I moved to Baltimore. I have been active in the HIV movement, but in 2009, when I was at AIDSWATCH in Washington, D.C., I ran into NHAAN, who had papers that said, please sign up. We're an organization for women. Boy, was that music to my ears, because I'm a woman, HIV positive, but the emphasis had always been on gay and bisexual men. They were amplified. They were provided resources and services, and women were left out of the picture. This excited me, so I didn't hesitate to sign up. And I am an executive director of an organization called Older Women Embracing Life, or OWEL. It was started in 2004 because support groups that were for women were not catering to older women who were living with HIV, and they didn't talk about the issues and things that were important to older women, and we couldn't find one. So our president of the board and the treasurer and our first executive director, they started OWEL, and we're still pretty much in Maryland the only support group for older women living with HIV. And we knew that we would survive and live, and we needed to have research focused on women, because we are underserved, under-researched, underfunded, not amplified. And so PWN was a way that I saw how to guide us to make sure that women were amplified in the HIV arena.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Melanie. I honestly believe that you touched on so many good points, especially, how services are lacking in many areas. So you experienced that in Maryland after receiving your diagnosis, after moving there, and realizing that there's nothing for women in your area. And many women have that same experience. And we were just talking about in another meeting that I had, the power of initiative, the power of us finding sisterhood or finding place or spaces where we feel safe enough to create the space for each other. And sometimes that's necessary if we want to have fellowship together, because, these organizations aren't always doing it. And half the time they're putting the money directly, where funding says it should go.
So. Right. And they don't push back, and they aren't innovative. And for instance, PrEP. Oh, I tell you, I was so angry, full of rage when PrEP rolled out. It was only for young MSMs, bisexual men, and transgender women. Where were women?
Yeah.
Women
That was left out.
need prep too. And they said, this is what the RFA says. This is the parameters we have to operate in. And I was livid, okay? And everywhere I went, I was saying, prep is for women. Prep is for women. Why aren't there marketing, advertisements, pamphlets? Why weren't people talking to women, about women, for women? If we want to get to the end of the HIV epidemic, you have to raise us up. You have to serve us. You have to provide us resources. You have to give us what we need so that we can reach other women. Do you know today, this is 2022, there are so many women who still believe the initial HIV epidemic is still gay men or bisexual men, that they do not consider themselves to be vulnerable to acquiring HIV. 2022, we're 42 years into this. And there are many women who have already passed on, and there are women who have stood up, spoke out, and it's very hard to get women to realize you have to listen, you have to learn, you have to help other women realize these are things you can do to prevent yourself from acquiring HIV. And those of us women who are already living with HIV, don't judge us. Don't say we're being punished. Don't say, it is not that at all.
Yes, yes. You see, you're dropping gems all through this. You are dropping gems, and everything that you're saying I really align with. I really like the fact that you're not involved with a PWN chapter, but yet the members and the staff, know who you are. They hear your voice. They just being aware of someone, knowing that they're not, directly connected to a chapter, and being able to see the work that this person is doing and being able to call upon this person to step in means a lot, and I think it speaks volumes to the different ways that women can show up and be involved in PWN, because I think maybe, there may be people that believe, maybe if I can't do chapter work, maybe if I'm not near a chapter, there's nothing that I can do that would benefit people like me, because when we think about PWN, everything about PWN is for the advancement of women living with HIV. When we go into these organizations, we don't know the policies and legislation that went behind some of these things that are incorporated within these organizations in their own policies, in their own funding, in their own initiatives and things like that. So you realize when working with PWN, why the work that PWN matters. Why does it matter to do policy and organizing? Because that's the work that really shifts the change that impacts us directly. So that storytelling portion is only one thing, sharing your HIV story, sharing your diagnosis date, but doing or stepping in, in the ways that make a difference in organizations like PWN. I think that speaks volumes. So if you could just share a little bit about how you show up with PWN and even why, you choose to continue to show up.
Well, I continue to show up for PWN because PWN represents me and other women, and I want to support them in any way that I can. If it's picking up a phone, if it is signing on to a consensus letter, if it's just sharing what I've learned in PWN with my particular organization or other organizations in the Baltimore, Maryland area. I do that. And PWN from the beginning has always touched my heart. OWEL, that I'm the ED, older women, Sisters Together and Reaching is an organization here in Maryland that works with women. But PWN, it's across, there's no borders. Let me say, there are no borders that constrict the reach and the mobilization and the increasing knowledge and getting active in every community. That's what I appreciate about PWN. The other thing I really admire about PWN, if you say you're a woman, you're a woman. You're accepted without hesitation, without constraints, women across the board. And I so appreciate that, because most other organizations, trans women are separate. And they shouldn't be. Because, for instance, family is who you say it is, not necessarily who you're born into. The same thing with trans women. Their spirit and their souls were always women, but they showed up in a compartment that didn't express that. We can't hold that against them. So they're women. And I just really appreciate that. PWN gave me wings to reach out even further than what I could ever have imagined, to help other women who are struggling, still in a dark place about their diagnosis, and they don't see anything positive, no pun intended, about having an HIV diagnosis. And the Demanding Better document that the PLHIV organizations worked hard to put together, the new Denver principles, I call it, to elevate people who are living with HIV, not as diminished individuals, but as accomplished individuals. And that lived experience means something. And that needs to be elevated. And that's the meaningful involvement of people living with HIV in all levels of organizations, all levels of planning, all levels of policy making. We aren't, on the side. We need to be at the table and leading the table and the work. And I'm also a board member of the International Community of Women Living with HIV. And they're part of the US PLHIV caucus, as well as PWN and several other organizations. But it just helped me have a platform to stand on, that I'm not on quicksand or sand, or it's a platform that I can elevate myself, that matches the way I've always felt about myself as a woman living with HIV. And it's the same that I want other women who are living with HIV to feel, that they are a whole person that can contribute to the society that wants to throw us away, and be willing to fight for not just yourself, but other women and elevate them.
Yes. Thank you for that. You know, I can tell you're used to doing things like this because you literally, well, not necessarily Shero interviews, but you know, just having the opportunity to speak for others, because the way you give the information and then you end it with a call to action. Like there's really a call to action in there, and that is so good and so big. And I really love how you speak and like bring everything together. I do want to ask specifically about some of the things that you are doing and how other members can support you directly.
Well, other members can support me directly by continuing to do the work that they're doing in their various jurisdictions and areas of where they live and where they work, showing up at conferences and speaking up and speaking loud and boldly, and showing up wherever. If there's a call to action, find out how you can fulfill that call and do something about it in your particular area. And just keep on doing all the postings, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook Live, the community conversations, the intersectionality of everything that goes on in life. PWN is there, present in some way, shape, or form. And I love that. And when Roe v. Wade was overturned, no split seconds, they were putting out their statement against that, and what we still need to do as women, how we need to show up for one another, and how we need to go to our legislators, our policymakers, and let them know that this has harmed women across the board. And it's taken us way back, trying to dismantle all the hard work and effort and the passion and the commitment to raise women to a level that they are, I wouldn't say equal to men, because we are, in my opinion, better than men.
Look,
Elevate us
I share that.
past them. And we have to rise up. We have to all rise up. Even the ones who don't think they can, we have to support them to realize that they can and should. And I tell people I'm PWN, and they said, oh, what chapter? Oh, I don't have a chapter, but I'm PWN.
Exactly.
I show up when they need me to show up.
Exactly.
But,
and get in where I can.
Yes.
And that's the, you know, if more people had that mind frame and that thought process, we would be so much further. But you know, I believe that spaces like this is what helps to bring more people and get more people involved. And I'm seeing it as time is going along. You know, you're seeing that more people are coming to the spaces, are finding out about organizations and membership bodies that they can align with. And it doesn't always have to be PWN, you know, as long as you find somewhere where you can find community, support, and sisterhood, and
Yes,
it
yes,
supports your growth. I always say, I don't think that people need to be public with their status where, you know, they have to feel that they're the face of the HIV movement or share their story every day. But I do believe that there's a different power in really accepting your status
oh,
and not
absolutely.
having it be something that is this private thing that nobody can know about. You see the differences in people's lives and people's quality of life, especially when,
Yes,
you know, they're public with their status, and they don't have to necessarily be that advocate that always shows up and is always speaking or in the commercials, but they have this piece about themselves that allow them to have a different quality of life.
absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I don't mind being a face of HIV. Um, I don't mind telling my story as many times as necessary. To It's a twofold to get a woman to realize I need to take care of myself. I need to find out what is my status. I need to be informed. I need to put myself first in terms of self-care and finding out what is going on with my whole self, which is your body, your mind, mental, emotional, spiritual, all that needs to be working in unison. And so preventing someone by giving them the support they need to learn and inform themselves to stay negative
Yeah.
is important. And the same thing is true for those who are positive. Support them to realize they're not damaged goods. They're not broken. They they may feel broken, but hey, come up under my arm. I'll walk with you. You'll see you're not broken and you can be healed. And that does not mean that your HIV has gone away. It just means that you are fully able to support yourself with your status and keep moving on in life and helping others, keep learning and keep sharing.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. And as we wrap up, I want to just ask you one final question. If there's anybody who's watching this and they want to know, you know, is there a way that they can support OWEL, or if they're older women and they're looking to learn about maybe if there are no virtual opportunities to participate, but you know, how they can go about doing it for themselves in their area. Is there any note you want to leave to those folks?
What I would like them to know is that right now, OWEL operates virtually. And we have a once a month meeting that provides support. We share education, whatever is currently the new thing that we need women to know about, opportunities to do outreach or speaking or learning. And I can send out information blast. So anyone who wants to know more about OWEL, we have a Facebook page, we have Twitter, I think we're on Instagram. Uh, um, and most of us in OWEL are involved in other organizations and other planning bodies like the HIV Prevention Group, Baltimore City Health Department, or the Maryland Department of Health, or the Greater Baltimore HIV Health Services Planning Council. We are plugged in everywhere because anything that we find out and know, we share, and we learn things there that we bring back to our membership to share, because we don't want anybody to be out of the loop and not have access to current information of things that may impact our members as women, as women who are living with HIV. We have members who have family members that have HIV. We have all comers that come to our meetings because they're vibrant. There's information to learn, and we're family. We are
Thank you so
family.
much. Thank you so much for joining me today, Melanie. And don't worry, I'll collect all this information. It'll be in text as a part of your Shero story on our website and social media. So I'll make sure to include all the information so folks can actually get connected with OWEL.
Well, Aisha, it has been a pleasure. It has been a real pleasure talking with you this morning, and PWN-USA, hooray!
Right, that's how we ended. Boom.
Thank you.